Welcome to the Health Revolution, the show that leads you to a life of vibrant well-being. In a world full of noisy health trends, we bring you clarity through a sea of fads. We reveal the science behind the strategies that truly work. We explore physical strength, emotional resilience, and mental mastery, the keys to an enriched life. See inspiring interviews with the champions who've conquered life's challenges. Are you ready to unlock your potential to live with vitality and purpose? Then join the Health Revolution. I'm your host, Adriana Morrison, health and fitness expert, speaker, and a mom who understands. Let's embark on this transformative quest together. If you want to change the game, it all starts now.
Welcome, everybody. You are watching the Health Revolution, and we're excited that you are joining us today. I'm your host, Adriana Morrison, and no matter which way you're tuning into us, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button because we want to stay connected to you. Also, at the bottom of your screen, you will see a tab. It's a show episode tab. Make sure that you take advantage of the information there because there's some relevant and important information about today's episode. Now, if you're just joining us for the first time or you are a repeat viewer, we're excited for you to remember and to know that we're all about the physical strength, emotional resilience, and mental mastery. Of course, we feel like time is of the essence because we have no time. But what if we were to remind us all that time is not the problem? Today, we're talking about just that and turning stress into success and leading your life with immeasurable fortitude. Our guest today is someone who is well known in the speaker's realm. He has taught so many people how to turn their life around using leadership skills that it doesn't mean that we have to be an executive person in order to do so. This is applicable in no matter who we are in life. I'm excited for us to have this conversation today. First, let's take a look at him. Meet Chad Cooper, a retired Fortune 500 executive, United States Marine Corps veteran, and international best-selling author of Time Isn't the Problem, You Are. Chad is a distinguished leader in personal development, philanthropy, and mental mastery, with a mission to inspire individuals to lead legendary lives. Through his groundbreaking work, Chad helps people master their mindset, align their actions with their values, and transform stress into success. His proven strategies empower individuals to embrace challenges, build resilience, and create a life of purpose and impact. Today, we will discover the keys to navigating life's transitions, fostering accountability, and unlocking the mental clarity needed to lead a purposeful, fulfilling life. Chad E. Cooper, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Adriana. I'm glad to be here and be able to continue helping and seeing what we can do to continue to support your mission of serving your audience.
You know, I'm excited to talk to you because obviously you're in the space of leadership, but I find it whimsical that when you and I talked before, you affectionately used the label as chief janitor to describe who you are, even with all the hats that you wear. Can you describe what it means to be chief janitor?
You bet. So chief janitor is really just kind of an experience. I've had the fortunate privilege of working with billionaires as clients, high performance athletes in clinch title events, World Series, Super Bowls, you name it, boxing, etc. And I found that the real leaders out there, the ones that are actually creating transformation, really are those that don't get hung up on their title. They're like, you can call me whatever you want, just don't say it behind my back or say it to my face kind of thing. But there are a couple of characteristics. One is that they come alongside others instead of over top. The second is that they have a great sense of humor. And so if we look at the Dalai Lama or Buddha, and I have to imagine Jesus as an example, but Gandhi, Dr. King, Nelson Mandela, Winston Churchill, etc. They all have a great sense of humor. And so if you're going to lead, you can't take yourself too seriously and you can't take the environment all the time too seriously. So chief janitor simply is, look, I don't come in over top and I don't put myself below. If the floor needs to be swept, that's what a servant leader does. And so it's where do I need to serve to create the impact and to create the outcome? And if that activity is picking up a broomstick, then you go do it. If it's grabbing a mic and standing the stage, then you go do that. So it's really about less about looking at ourselves and looking at the impact that we want to create for others.
So you've had quite the life so far, especially United States Marine Corps to Fortune 500 executive. So how do you tie the two together? Did you know when you first entered the Marine Corps that did you envision yourself getting to where you are today? Or was this something that the path unraveled and you trusted the process? What was that like for you in the very beginning and
Yeah,
going?
that's a powerful question. I appreciate you asking. And the answer in that is yes, I did actually in some respects. So when I was 19, back when audio cassettes, okay, we're not going to go to 8 tracks, it wasn't that far back, but audio cassettes. And I picked up this program called Personal Power, and it was the first edition of that by Tony Robbins. And at 19, I planned out what did I want my life to achieve and become, and who did I want to be, as importantly as what do I want to do by the age of 40. And I was able to accomplish that really at 35, which was kind of the preface for the book. But before I went in the Marine Corps, I was offered to try out on the US ski team as well. Now, I'd already signed my papers for the Marines, and I went into that. But I'll be honest, Adriana, I went in one of 6 boys in one side of my family, and I was the mama's boy. I was the youngest, and I, you still had to be tough, but I wasn't Marine Corps tough. And there was a point where I got really sick, and I had it coming out both ends, not to get too graphic. And the drill instructors had a really unique way of helping you when you were ill, and that was to do push-ups until you couldn't do them anymore. So in that process, you're not allowed to have any technology, a watch or anything. They don't want you to know the time. And so they had me do push-ups. Somebody had a watch, and they said I did push-ups for 45 minutes. Okay. Now, most people can't even do push-ups for 3 to 5 minutes, but I was violently sick. I had a pool of sweat that looked like I jumped into a body of water. And when I was just completely collapsed, drill instructor comes down and grabs me by the back of my blouse or your jacket, right? He says, "I didn't say you could quit," lifts me off the ground and drops me. Now, if you're faking it, you're going to brace yourself. I just went smack face first on the concrete. Did it twice. And it was in that moment that I realized that my body is capable of 20 times more than my mind wants to believe it's capable of. And so it was at a very young age that I created the vision. And if we look at J.K. Rowling, she wrote Harry Potter with the end first and then went backwards. So the trick is write the ending, and it's a lot easier to create the map from that, working it backwards. And I was able to do that at a young age and able to achieve those things because I had a clear vision.
But was that something that you were conditioned to do because of your surroundings, or was that something that it was a self-discovery moment for you that it just really, hit you, no pun intended, based on the story that you shared, the history. But was it an aha moment for you, or were you always conditioned to look at life that way?
Well, we're in a really interesting place in the debate and in the research of APA, American Psychological Association, as well as in the medical field. And they're arguing currently that ADHD and PTSD really don't exist. They're recategorizing it. And they're actually calling ADHD CPTSD, which is constant PTSD. Well, I grew up in some difficult environments in many ways. And so we often look at ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, as a handicap. But what if we actually looked at it as a strength? And that strength was really honed in the Marine Corps, the attention to detail is where's the threat, where's the threat, where's the threat, where's the threat, right? So if we look at that and we have the end already mapped out and we can look at the map backwards and work it backwards, it allows you to create a number of variables so that no matter where you might face an obstacle, you have the resourcefulness. And that's really something I got growing up. When you're in hostile environments, you get resourceful to survive. In the Marine Corps, believe it or not, in the military, they don't want the Rambo guy. They want the guy that's going to learn how to communicate, learn how to adapt, and then learn how to overcome. And so we actually found resourcefulness, which is really an ADHD strength, to the ability for me to be able to see if I find a roadblock, I adjust and I sidestep or I dig under or climb over in order to get to the objective. And so there's a switch there. Instead of activity, we focus on outcome.
So, how come in society, from your viewpoint, why do we struggle so much with understanding how to overcome our obstacles, and where do we get stuck? Where do you see that we get stuck in life, especially now in 2025?
When I look at what I'm here to represent and part of my purpose here on this planet at this point in time, we we have to make a decision. And through my experience, be that in the corporate world or the military or as an elected official or as an executive coach, we have to ask two questions in life. Where am I going and who's coming with me? And we have to ask it in that order. If we reverse that order, we can compromise our purpose and compromise our mission. So when we know our purpose, then we have to decide whether we want to be victorious or a victim. You can't be both simultaneously. And so you have to be willing to actually say, if I'm going to be victorious, then I have to realize that I need to transform the shadow of victimization. Now, often we'll say, but you don't understand my history. Great. That's a great place for therapy. I'm the way I am because something in my past is affecting my ability to take responsibility and say it's no longer an excuse, it's an explanation. And so we can take our trauma, and everybody's trauma, Adriana, is a 10 out of 10 for them. We don't want to compare. Comparison's the thief of joy. But what we do want to do is decide, do we want to take responsibility to drop the script of villain and victim? If we drop that script, it doesn't absolve us from pain or uncomfort, right? We can have discomfort in the process is how we actually succeed. It's how we build muscle. But we can drop the stories about the pain, and that's where victimization comes in. So in order to achieve, we have to drop the suffering, drop the stories, and accept that pain is one of the vital ingredients to get us to achieve.
The Sometimes when I think of, say, moments that a person has gone through, and maybe it is something that is universally agreed that it's unimaginable pain or unspeakable pain, whether it's a physical setback or an instant life jarring moment, where whether something was violent or something was just completely unexpected, a sudden loss where it was a lot happening. How does one begin to wrap their head around that so that they can heal from that, even though it's, say, a life altering event, maybe an unusual event? What are your thoughts on a situation like that?
Well, I would take the research and the firsthand experience from Viktor Frankl. He was a Holocaust survivor who wrote Man's Search for Meaning, I believe is the book. And what he experienced is that there is a finite amount of fear. There's only so much fear. And he observed the concentration camp prisoners would get to a point where the threat of a German Shepherd being in their face, the threat of a guard or somebody trying to harm them, you can only do this for so long, clenching that fist before you get tired and you have to let go. And fear is no different. There's a limited amount of fear. And once we face all fear, then we are free and liberated to be able to actually let ourselves out of the prison. I'm in no way saying that people haven't experienced horrific trauma and haven't had moments of victimization. But there comes a point where we say, am I going to use this to propel myself and others forward? Or am I going to stay living in the past and continue repeating that record? So, how do we do that? Slowly. My foundation, one of our projects is we go into disaster areas. And what we do, we don't deal with food, water, shelter. What we offer is helping with the emotional trauma. And the fastest and most effective way of doing that is through music and art. is to emote in safe and healthy ways. It's when we're holding on to it that we stay a prisoner, we stay in that victimization. But it's when we have safe places to emote that allows us to begin that healing process.
What was your moment after being, I want to circle back to your journey from Marine Corps to Fortune 500 executive. Your biggest moment, your biggest breakthrough as you're going through the process and you're getting stronger, you have that mental fortitude, you're forging your path, and then your personal breakthrough moment afterwards. What was that like for you?
I would say when I got out of the Marine Corps, what I realized a profound moment was that I had a huge tool set of skills. Some of those skills translated very well in the civilian world. Some of those skills did not. And so I would say in the 21st century, one of the greatest lessons is our ability not just to learn, but to unlearn and relearn. And so that transition was hold on to the characteristics that served me well in civilian world, served me well in the corporate world, served me in the entrepreneurial world, and leave and let go of the skill sets that don't serve. And so it's really important as I go throughout the world and I work with indigenous cultures around the world, we have a responsibility to immerse ourselves in those cultures, bring in what aligns and contributes, and let go of the cultural things that actually conflict and compete. And so I learned that early on is to understand the environment that you're in and complement it, go into understand, and then determine whether you agree. And on the other side of that, you may have understanding, but not always agree. And we need to have tolerance. We need to have acceptance of those differences because they're strengths.
So why is it that sometimes it's so hard to do just that?
Well, we have our own belief systems, right? We were raised to believe in certain things. And again, so I grew up with my high school was surrounded on three sides by cornfields. Okay. So that tells you the kind of environment that I grew up with. And I grew up where the first black students had crosses burned on their front yards. This is back in the 80s and in really early 90s. And that is there's no justification. So that's the environment I was raised in. And then we have a responsibility to ask ourselves, is that right? Am I willing to not drop the microphone, but hold on to it and ask the difficult questions? And I was given that opportunity in the military because in the military, it doesn't matter whether you're from the city or urban or suburbs or out in the cornfields. It doesn't matter what your gender, what your ethnicity. All that matters is, can you accomplish the objective? And can the people next to you support each other in doing that? And so I learned at that point that our differences actually allow us to be stronger together. Then traveling the world, I was also able to see, oh, these differences, they actually might give me a whole new tool set to differentiate and make me actually more effective than other leaders out there.
We've got a lot to cover and we have so much more to go. First, we're going to take a commercial break. Don't go anywhere.
So in the calm bag, it has GABA, theanine, and taurine. So theanine, which is B1, which is also in our B complex, but it also helps with the stress response levels. It also helps with the neurological transmitters in our brain. Combined with the GABA, and then you add taurine to it. Taurine is a non-essential amino acid in our body, but it's found in our heart, our brain, and our eyes. So in my personal opinion, it's very essential in our lives. But taurine has a calming effect as well. When I was battling all my AFib issues, I was taking high doses of taurine because that would help with my AFib. It would help with the palpitations I was having. And it also helped with the anxiety of having the palpitations because I knew what was going on. And so taurine helps a lot with that as well. So those three together create such a wonderful concoction that just really just calms people down.
Introducing Launchpad, the perfect partner to help you launch your dream project to the world. We know that time is of the essence, and we're here to help you make the most of it. With Launchpad, you'll get access to the most advanced digital tools and strategies to take your idea from a mere concept to a fully fledged success. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur or a seasoned pro, we have everything you need to make your mark in the world. Launchpad, your ultimate launch partner.
We're spending quality time with our guest today, Chad E. Cooper. He's a renowned author, he's an executive coach, and we are talking about building that mental fortitude because time is not the problem. And so before the break, we started talking about Chad, you and I were talking about how you've had that professional and personal breakthrough success where you were able to understand and distinguish between being victorious and stepping away from, say, victimization, and your thoughts on where we get stuck in life. And I'd like to segue into the fact that when you became an author, you wrote a best-selling book, and I'd like to bring that up right now. And it's called "Time Isn't the Problem." You are 4 strategies to transform stress into success. Talk a little bit about what your thought process behind this, what was your goal, and some of the finer points of the book.
Thank you for asking. The book has been actually modified and retitled. It was originally "Time Isn't the Problem, You Are." And we dropped the "you are," Adriana, because it was too in your face. But it was meant to be like the title Chief Janitor is, look, if you can't acknowledge that you're part of the problem, then you can't actually be part of the solution, right? It's about understanding that in life, we play the role of villain. In life, we play the role of victim. In life, we play the role of victor. We play all of them. I'm just healthy enough to admit that I'm schizophrenic, and so am I, in a healthy way, okay? So if we understand that time isn't the problem, then we can get resourceful and say, well, if time isn't the issue, what is it? It's maybe how I'm using time. Am I a master of time or am I a slave to time? And so we can actually understand if we can take the behaviors of high performers. Let's just say that you have a coach and they say, okay, I want you to go out and run. Well, the first question you're likely going to ask is, well, how far? How long? So one of the tricks in being able to actually be a master of time is to look at what's the destination. Think about that. If you're in California, you want to get to New York, you need to understand, when do I have to arrive, right? When you take a flight, when you drive, or you're going to walk, you have to look at the date that I need to get there is going to determine the cost in the vehicle that I'm going to choose to use. And we'll have to get resourceful to get there faster, tends to be more expensive. And so when we look at time isn't the problem, we then can invest in ourselves and say, what am I willing to actually put into my life in order to actually extract out the outcome? Rather than just, I think it was Jack London that said, we are meant to live, not to merely exist. So how do we live? Well, we pick the destination. I was fortunate to do that at 19. And I thought, oh, that map will get me till I'm 40. Well, I did it at 35 when I retired from this small little computer company called Microsoft. And I chose to actually be the stay-at-home dad and do that at an exemplary level. But it was actually, the book was a kind of a panic of, holy crap, I've got, let's say another 50 years, God willing, in front of me. And I reached the destination. What do I do now? And so I looked back and said, let me reverse engineer what I did from 19 to 35. And that really was the catalyst, was selfishly for me to be able to say, how do I build the next chapter? How do I build the next destination and vision? And so it really is the recipe for you to be able to do that through the achievements of billionaires that use the same ingredients, through high performer athletes. These are 18-time world champion boxers. These are multi-gold winning Olympians. These are Major League Baseball pitchers that have won the World Series, Stanley Cups, Super Bowls, all kinds of different achievements. And so there's a certain ingredient. And once you know those ingredients, then you can actually put together the recipe. And so that's what this is, the recipe.
So when you wrote this and you had the idea of sharing this, how much time did you spend crafting the message such that it would land well? And the reason why I ask this is because it seems as though we as a society, we can get pretty emotional. And so that self-accountability seems to be hard or challenging. And so what were some of the approaches that you took and your thought process to address this so that the reader can embrace this and see the reality behind your message?
Well, thank you for asking the question, because it really is a very different approach than maybe some other design your life books, right? Or use your time effectively. This, in essence, begins with discovering what your purpose is. And we are raised in a society, especially the Western Hemisphere, to say your title or your purpose is the title on a desk or on the lower third of the screen, like now, or it's the zip code you live in, how much money you have in your bank, the badge on your purse or the hood of your car. But here's the reality. It begins with understanding your purpose. Don't start on your destination until you know your purpose, because it's not just about crossing the finish line. It's about who do you want to be in the journey. It's about enjoying the journey as much as the destination. So what if you actually understood your purpose is how you want to feel? Your purpose is how you want to feel and the emotions you want to experience on a day-to-day basis. And if you know what those are, as a former Marine, I had three emotions: happy, sad, pissed. And then I realized I'm capable of evolving, and I can be melancholy. I can actually be exuberant. And I learned that our emotions are like a color palette. They're shades of blue. We have royal blue, navy blue, baby blue, periwinkle. Yes, a Marine knows the word periwinkle, okay? And I know that it's a color of blue. So if we can actually understand the shades of our emotions, then we can actually start embracing those and reflecting them by choice in the activities that we do. And so when we wake up, Adriana, it's about who do I want to be regardless of what it is I'm here to do.
And tell us a little bit about when the book was published and then the feedback that you've gotten since so far.
I have no idea when the book was published. It's been at least, I don't know, probably it's been a while. Okay. And it continues to move, it continues to sell. It was picked up actually in China. It's been picked up in a couple of other countries and languages. So it's been continuously moving forward. And essentially, there's a piece in there that I see missing in so many of these genres of books. And if you notice what I said is who do you choose to be in the midst of whatever it is you're going to do? And so that requires us to be able to own our emotions, but that also means being able to have a relationship with the spiritual side. So in executive coaching, you have physical, logical, and emotional. The piece that people actually come to coaching and don't know it is the piece that's missing is like spiritual. Spiritual is like a beet on a salad. It gets on a salad and it bleeds on it all over it and you can't get it out. And so while most will focus on manifesting the material, it's really the spiritual, our beingness, that we learn to suppress. We learn to say, keep it to ourselves. Don't let anybody know those inside emotions and words. And this is actually about saying we need to lead with that. And those need to be the experiences so that our doingness is complementary and exciting.
So, how much of this is lacking in the, say, for those who are in the corporate world, those who have that role in companies and groups and organizations, even nonprofits and such, that are choosing to pave the way, and they're so extremely focused on the goals for said group or company or their role, but they're struggling with this. How much of that is happening? How much of a trend are you seeing with that? And what are some steps that can help that person just take a different angle in looking at the entire landscape so that they can embrace this in a much more fluid way?
What a refreshing question. Because it's been my experience that these executives and high performers, whatever industry or whatever profession that they're in, entrepreneurs and executives, actually their intuition, and they feel it, they sense it, and it may be a subconscious layer. And really what this is in the coaching is allowing them to say, I need to lead with that, even though society, even though the industry has told me that, you need to suppress it. It's actually their superpower, it's their strength. But there's certain emotions, there's certain things that we're not really comfortable. Just like when you start going to the gym, you don't go and crank out 400 pounds one time a month. You're going to be sore. You're not going to get the results. Is we want to actually lower the weight, increase the reps, and build that muscle over time. And so we have that intuition, we have that sense. And this is about saying, let's lean into that. Let's go to our emotional, mental, and spiritual gym and allow you to say differences. We talked about that earlier. Those differences are what allow you to lead. Those differences allow you to actually support others. So when we look at that, the Dalai Lama is an example. When they asked him what surprised him most about humanity, he said, man, because he sacrifices his health in order to make money. Then he spends down and sacrifices his money in order to restore his health. And so he lives in a moment as if he's never going to die, and then dies never really having the opportunity to live. And so this is really about saying, if you're going to live, those subconscious emotions, let's bring them to your conscious. Let's acknowledge that that's actually what people don't leave a company, they leave a manager. And so if you actually have a relationship and come from here and come alongside, and we ask those people what's going on, it allows the humanity for us to be restored and to connect with people. And it allows our humanness to actually lead rather than our doingness, which makes us small and hide.
So this brings up a great question I want to ask you. When someone is going through a huge change, something that they could not anticipate in midlife, how do you conceptualize using the tactics you're using? And time isn't the problem. What if it was sudden? What if it was something that just was a fork in the road that they didn't see coming? What is the best way to approach a life-altering moment? Not necessarily traumatic, but just a huge sudden shift. Maybe a job loss. Maybe something happened in their relationship where suddenly now that relationship is ending. What's the best way to approach the tactics you're using in the book so that they can make change happen for themselves for the better?
I will say we'll look at three positions in there. One is my goddaughter has this great acronym called HOPE, HOPE, and it means hold on, pain ends. And so it's first understanding that this too shall pass. Now we want it to pass quickly. And how do we do that? Well, I would say the first principle in there is understanding that all our emotions are relevant. Look, if we put our hand on a hot stove, we go, ouch, that hurts. It's the body saying pain is trying to tell you change something. Get out of this environment. If it's toxic or difficult or unhealthy, we want to acknowledge the full spectrum of emotions. And most of us say, oh, well, social media says I can post that meal, I can post that place that I'm at, and I can show all the goodness happening, but I have to hide days that I wake up and say, I'm not okay. And I'm here to tell you, the first thing is when you wake up and say, I'm not okay, is to be okay not being okay, right? Is we want to acknowledge the full spectrum of emotions as they're telling us stuff. The second is when we acknowledge, I think I'm going to be a jerk today. No, I'm positive I'm going to be a jerk today. The second is take responsibility, right? I can take responsibility and say, I'm okay not being okay. But my responsibility is not just to myself, but to you also, Adriana, and say, I'm not okay. Don't poke the bear. I'm going to remove myself from the public so I can go process and be with this. Okay. So take responsibility. And the third is the chapter in the book is padding isn't just for furniture. We don't create enough padding or space in our calendar to handle these interruptions, to handle the urgent and important when it happens so that we can absorb them. We don't even put in enough padding to be able to go to a bathroom break or transition from meeting to meeting. So we need more padding to allow ourselves to remember who we're being instead of getting caught and lost in the doingness, right? It's like if I have something going on, do I allow myself the space to say that is as worthy and if not more worthy than just faking it until I make it?
I just had a giggle for a second because when you were talking about I interpreted what you were saying to mean like being able to call yourself out, like I'm gonna choose to be a jerk today. And I find when I reflect on moments where I'm not my best self, the idea of calling myself out on it actually gives me pause to ask myself, do I still want to roll this way? But then I find that I course correct a little bit faster and that my grumpiness is dissipating quicker. I mean, maybe not as fast as I want it to if I feel like I'm having a bad day. But I giggle because the moments where when I muster up the courage to say, listen, I'm just in a bad spot, either to family or colleagues or things like that, I find that I actually gain control of myself and I give greater pause for thought than at first glance. So I like how you frame that because it's another way of taking accountability for what we bring to the table.
Yeah, and it's really important. My son just yesterday, so I have a probably the most mastered physio neurologist in London, and he comes over to my hometown in Delray Beach, Florida, and he works on people. And through acupuncture, he's extremely talented. As he puts it in the autonomic nervous system holds all of that pain, all of that trauma, and we can use the acupuncture for the bioenergy to release it. Well, when it releases, oh man, you better be ready for allowing that to emote, journal, go be in solitude. So my son had a session and he calls up and he says, I just had some really powerful emotions and I can't put them all out there. I said, well, can you feel one of them? He goes, yeah, I'm really angry. I said, great, go be angry. Allow, right? How many of us tell our parents tell us it's not okay to be angry, right? And I said, great, allow yourself to be angry. But instead of perpetuating it by going and playing some gaming system or going and doing something that keeps generating that anger, if we actually feel into it and allow it to be and take responsibility to remove ourselves where we're not projecting it on other people, then it dissolves. And Newtonian science says in physics, whatever we resist persists. So if I keep on resisting that anger or that pain, guess what it's going to do? It's going to continue producing it. Viktor Frankl said there's only a certain amount. When you let go, it dissolves.
That's incredible. That's a powerful analogy. And we've got more to cover. First, we're going to take a commercial break. Stay right there. Thank you so much for watching The Health Revolution. Our show is growing, and it's all thanks to viewers like you. No matter how you found us, please hit the subscribe button so we can stay connected and continue to deliver amazing content to you.
Hi, Hi, I'm Adriana, and welcome to Fit Bites. Today, let's talk about collagen, a protein that plays a vital role in keeping your skin, joints, and connective tissues strong and healthy. Now, collagen is often called the glue that holds your body together. It helps maintain skin elasticity, promotes joint mobility, and supports healthy hair and nails. But as we age, our body's natural collagen production decreases, typically starting in our mid-20s, which can lead to wrinkles, joint discomfort, and weaker connective tissues. Now, the good news is you can support your collagen levels. Foods rich in protein, for example, like chicken, fish, and eggs, they provide the building blocks for collagen production. Vitamin C is also essential. Citrus fruits, bell peppers, and leafy greens, for example, can boost your body's ability to produce collagen. Supplementing with collagen peptides has also become popular and may help improve skin hydration, joint health, and overall resilience. Just make sure to choose a high-quality product. Remember, collagen is more than just a beauty trend. It's key to staying strong and feeling great as you age. Stay proactive and take care of your body from the inside and out. Stay tuned for more Fit Bites with Adriana.
Our guest today, Chad E. Cooper, he's an executive coach. He's also a world-renowned author and a speaker. And we're talking today about how time is not the problem, how to take stress and evolve it to success and all that that implies. And Chad, before the break, you were going into the details of your book and letting our viewers know that it's available on Amazon and also on your website, I would imagine. And so I want to talk about the ways that you work with others and just the different steps and the type of programs that you have. Talk to us a little bit about what programs you're working on and how you work with individuals to really hit that level of success.
Well, let's start with the chapter we just finished, and that's the padding, right? Isn't just for furniture. So right now, I've actually got padding, and I'm in the midst of transferring from one to the next phase of life. So I've had the great privilege, and I will tell you what, if you're a parent out there with young ones, fight for who gets to be at home and raise those kids, because the days are long, but the years are short, and it is the greatest privilege I've ever had. My son's now in his third year at university, thriving and doing well. So it's given me the opportunity to say, okay, what do I want to create? Well, I've tried retirement 3 times. It doesn't stick. Okay. I'm not that person. It drives me nuts. So what I've decided to do is put out a couple of small little things. You can go to my website, chaddecooper.com, and be able to get some things there. But really what I decided was I want to serve more people. I want to be able to create more lasting impact and transformation. And so that means that we're creating a library of content, and we want to be able to hear the context that people wanted to be able to relate to that content. So we're asking for people to give us feedback. Go to the website, send us a message, and tell us, where are you experiencing trauma? Where are you experiencing frustration in wanting to create your dreams and create a legendary life? Where are you a maverick visionary, and how do you execute that? And then we'll create the content. So the real passion is this, Adriana, to actually take all of this, like the Grant Cardones, Tony Robbins, Michael Singers, all of these people that have high ticket sales, and we're taking all that content and saying, we're going to make it at such a ridiculous price that the developing parts of the world who are super hungry for this have the ability to absorb and learn and level up as well. So we're going to make it small, bite-sized pieces that you can subscribe to. It's not there yet. We're working on it, so be patient. And in the meantime, is if you're looking for the ability to, you're a maverick visionary, you're a high performer and want to go to the next level, I'm making space for personal coaching. I've got a couple slots, but understand my clients are with me, I think going 14 years in continuing. So we've got something there for everyone, but just start with the website and see what kind of fancies your appetite.
I know that you have one program that I'd like to bring. We have a slide that has a little bit of additional information. Talk to us about legendary lifestyles and who all the different values that this particular program has that you bring to the table.
Thank you. So the program is really being able to look at, in many ways, I've been a maverick pioneer. And it's about really taking up that mantle of magnificence. It's about actually acknowledging that while our path may be unique, the challenges that we face are relatively common to all. And so if we wanted to say, I want to be legendary, I want to create a legacy, and I want to create lasting transformation, whatever that may be. Is the process? How do I do that? And so this is the ability to go in and be coached on what legacy consists of, what monetization of your empire building. So if you noticed in the Dalai Lama's kind of comment or observation, what he was saying is don't fall into the trap of either or. Choose yes and. Material empire attainment and spiritual enlightenment simultaneous. You can do both. So you can be a high performer and actually be spiritually present with your family, with your community, with your company. So if that's really what you're looking for, that's really what that's going to be the beginning process of inviting you into that opportunity.
And the type of person that this would be for, can you talk about the types of participants that you've had? Are they the different walks of life? What are some of the backstories of some participants who have been part of the program?
Yeah, the backstories are people who have learned mental fortitude and the ability to make decisions and take action. High performers, in short, and that can be from spiritual to physical to material to whatever that may be, right? But if we took 100% of the population, 8 billion people on the planet in growing, we can actually do the math on this, and 87% are only interested in remaining ignorant in entertainment. Okay, it's not a judgment, it's a reality that most people don't want to actually do much. They actually just want to feel safe and entertained. So if you're just looking for the entertainment, great. There's some entertainment components here that you can look at and have no obligation whatsoever. But that remains 13% of the population. And those 13% have the mental aptitude, they have the ability to follow this conversation and say, I'm actually interested in doing something. They're really there for the inspiration and motivation. But the real nugget in this are the 4% of the 13%, not of the 100%, 4% of the 13. And they're the ones that are saying, I'm going to take responsibility for lasting transformation. I'm actually going to do the work to achieve. Now, that sounds like a small number. It's 167 million people on the planet. So if you're one of them, then you need to dive in and really just decide, burn the boats, burn the bridges. I'm all in.
I love how the math is mathing, and obviously we have the QR code for our viewers to grab as as those see the alignment, and this is quite the value that you bring. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Stay put. Today, we've been spending quality time with our guest, Chad E. Cooper. He's a renowned executive coach, author, speaker. We are talking about building that mental fortitude, taking stress, turning it into success. Time is not the problem. And we've talked about all the different receipts that he brings to the table. Chad, where can we find you in the virtual space?
You find me at chaddecooper.com is obviously the easiest. You'll see a lot of content on Instagram, and YouTube is really the platform where we try to put our information out. You'll see some more articles coming up on LinkedIn as well as we continue to create our presence there. You're not going to see a ton out on Facebook, but people are still out on Facebook, and I find the younger generation are more of the TikTok and Instagram. So that's where I think you get more of the relational aspects rather than the transactional.
And where are you lending your voice in 2025? Where can we find you as you're moving forth in this year and just making that impact?
So right now we are really pushing in driving all of the activity through the foundation. So what we're looking for are people who are interested in an immersive experience. If you're looking for a speaker, let me know, and I'd be happy to come and serve your audience on the stage. The others, you're going to see more of the products out on the website in terms of the library being built out. And then we're creating really deep immersive experiences for people who are all in both Central America as well as in New Zealand, and bringing you to my tribe. I am a tribal member of the oldest indigenous tribe in New Zealand. And so if you really want to be able to restore the templates that have been lost, you really want to understand how legendary and being a full immersive person is, enjoy that experience and be part of it.
And if there's one message you want our viewers to get from our talk today, if there's one takeaway you want to leave them with, what would that be?
It would be to laugh more. There's an old phrase, Adriana, and it says, we don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing." Right? So my whole thing is, I hope that when I am 112, people go, "When are you going to grow up?" So I can say, "Never." So we can do hard work. We can have dirt and sweat on our forehead and collapse into our bed, laughing our butt off in the process. That's how we get through. That's how we do the worthy things. We have to laugh and lighten up. So laugh more, play more.
I 100% agree with that. I could talk to you all day long and we're running out of time. Chad E. Cooper, thanks so much for spending time with us. Thanks for sharing your knowledge and your wisdom and all of the receipts that you bring to the table. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. It's an absolute pleasure, and what a privilege to be able to bring my message out and compliment your audience. So thank you.
And we want to do a quick shout out to our sponsors. Thank you so much to Biomed Mobile IV, Dapper Mobile Apps, and also Launchpad and Synergize Fitness for your support of our show. Also, for our viewers, you can find us on the web. Our website is thehealthrevolutiontv.com. There you can subscribe to our newsletter. You can also email us with any show episode ideas you'd love for us to cover. And then, of course, in the corner of your screen, you'll find our QR code. If that's easier for you to grab, feel free to do so. And then, as always, you can find us Tuesdays and Thursdays on E360 TV and the expanding channels that we are expecting to be on this year, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. That's all the time that we have for today. Until next time, take care of yourselves. We will see you soon.